All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on What the Sheet. And in today's episode, we're going to be making the fishing brag boards, like I mentioned in the last video, which was I think it was the leash holders. Should have been. Anyways, so what I have here are the kind of the main parts, or the main back piece where all the stenciling is going to go on. So all this is just 3/4 inch plywood. I'm trying to remember, I think this is birch laminates or birch veneer. So this outer skin is birch, and then the layers in between are just random layers. I think some of them are MDF, and then some of them are just kind of regular layers of sheets of whatever wood that they're using. So the main reason I use plywood for the backs of the boards or for these signs is, one, for kind of cost reasons. It's cheaper for me to buy a 2x4 sheet of plywood and then cut it down to these smaller sections. So these are 12 by 18. So it's easier for that way, just for cost reasons. And then try and buy, let's say I bought a 1x12 piece of pine to do this, and then just cut it to 18-inch lengths. You run the risk of the board cupping and having cracks and all that stuff in it. So just buying plywood makes it a lot more stable. And then just being able to have like a nice straight edge on there and have something solid to attach the trim on really helps too with the finishing side of it. And then, so once I actually make or do all the staining and stenciling on the boards, I will come through and I'll attach the trim. So it'll just be like a regular picture frame trim, which is it's going to be this 1x2 pine. And then, it's pretty simple. We're just going to do butt ends, or whatever. It's just going to be straight cuts. We're not going to do any fancy joinery or any miters or anything like that on it. Keep it simple. These are really great for a hunting or fishing cabin, or like an ice shack if you're up north like I am. It's good to that time of year where the lakes are starting to freeze, so people are getting ready to go ice fishing. So having something like this in your little ice shack, whether it's a small trailer that you roll up there to your cabin or to the lake and you set it out there for a few weeks out of the year, or if you have a really nice, a little bit more built up ice shack, having something like this permanently in there was kind of handy. Or it's just a nice little thing to have in there and fun for if you have kids or your grandkids or whatever in a shack with you. What else? So I got 4 that I'm going to make for this craft show that I have tomorrow. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 2 that'll have a walleye for like the main fish picture, and then 2 that'll have a crappie, because that's what we've done in the past. So we made 2 of these already. I think I might have shared pictures of them already, but if I haven't, the general idea is on the top it'll say fishing brag board, and then right around here it'll have numbers 1 through 10, and then on this left side here it'll say owner, and then guess 1, 2, and 3, and then in this kind of remaining open space there'll be the fish picture, or the outline of the fish, and then going over top of that fish underneath the numbers along with the names, there'll be a series of holes, and then I make custom little pins that are intended to look like fishing bobbers. So I have some that are painted red, some are painted black, and then they just sit on a wooden dowel, which is what these guys are. So it's just a 1/4 inch dowel, and then those get fitted onto these, which are just wooden beads that have a hole in them. So almost like for a necklace. And then what I do is I just fit the dowel in there, glue it into place, and then once it's all set up, I come back through and I have a little stand that I put these on. And then I go through and I hand paint all the bead parts, whatever color, so red or black. And then, like in this case, since I have 4 boards to do, and each board will have 4 rows, so there'd be eight of each color, so 8 reds, 8 blacks. And that'll be enough for the show for this weekend. And then hopefully if people order some more or want something customized, that's where we can come back. We can do, you know, a different color of the beads if for whatever reason they want, like, you know, purple and yellow for like Vikings colors or something like that. Like we can do all of that super simple, not that hard to do. And then we can customize if people want specific names on the side of the board, or if they want to have something, say something different on top, or like the last one we made, they wanted 5 names plus a saying on the bottom. So it made the board 18 by 18. So little modifications like that isn't that big of a deal with these. But like I said, these are for a show, craft show tomorrow. So I want to make sure I get these done and ready to go. That way I can hopefully sell at least 1 or 2 of these tomorrow and maybe get some orders on some more later. What else? What I'm going to do now is we're going to get the backs of the boards stained and then the trim pieces cut and those painted. Those are getting a white chalk paint, which will be the same as what's all the stenciling is done in. And then we'll let those set, and then I'll go inside to the house and we'll start cutting out the stencils for everything. And I'll kind of run you quick on how we do that process on our computer. Okay, so I'm at my kitchen table where we have our Cricut maker set up. This is just a kind of like their mid-tier machine that they have. They have their Explorer 3, I think, is their top one. And that has 2 different cutting utensils, and then you can also have a roll set on the face here, and then it'll just cut continuous, which would be nice in a case like this. But what I'm going to do is I have 3 of these sheets cut. So they're 12 inches by 18, and that'll basically be the whole board. And my plan is to cut and do the whole design on 1 sheet and then try to peel it all and lay it all down as one. If it doesn't work out, if it gets to be too much of a pain, I can come through with a pair of scissors and I can just cut out the individual strips and then lay it down individually like I've done in the past. The designs are in the Cricut design space, which is the Cricut's proprietary whatever design software. So what I'm going to do is I have everything on here all highlighted. It's all put together. We're going to click make. It's going to basically process and it's going to figure out how it wants to cut the design out. And then once you're at this point, it'll automatically give you all your pieces. And then it's just a matter of laying them all out on the mat. And that way, once you put your mat in the machine, it'll just cut it out all at once. And then it's basically just a matter of peeling the vinyl off once you're done, and then putting new ones on if you're doing multiple. So in this case, I'm going to make 2 of each. So this first one's going to have the crappie on it, and then the next one will have the walleye. All the other information will be the same, so it's just a matter of switching that image out, and then come back in here, and then resetting some of this, and then just making 2 copies. So it'll go hopefully pretty quick. Like I said, I just got to do some fiddling on here to get this part set up, and then once that's done, then it's just a matter of putting it in the machine and then getting them all cut out. Okay, so we got our stencils made and the first one applied here. So this is the walleye. I know earlier I said when I cut all these out on the Cricut, I had it all cut out as one big piece. I actually had issues peeling the backing plastic or paper off, and it was messing with, the first one it was messing with the lettering. So then I cut all the major pieces out. And then on the other one, I was actually messed up on the fish part because it's just so much detail that it started to separate and it folded on itself. And then it's like when you get 2 ends of the tape together, it just ruined it. So we're down to 1. I do have some more material laying around so I can make at least another fish. And that way I can have at least 2 of these boards for tomorrow. It is getting kind of late in the day here. But the stenciling is on, so now all I have to do is just go over all the parts with the white chalk paint. And then from there, basically let it, once I put it on, I can peel the bigger pieces of plastic off. And then the center parts, you know, the center parts of the O's, the B's, and the fish here, these center pieces, those all get covered in paint. And then I just wait for it to dry. It doesn't take that long, maybe 10 minutes at the most. And once it's dry, I'll come back through with a little pick and I'll just pick all those pieces out, just peel them off, and then you'll see the kind of the end result there where everything that's blue will be the wood grain, you know, that dark walnut, and then all the what's dark walnut now, except for the little pieces in between here, will all be white. And then once everything's painted, stenciled on here, I can put on my little jig that'll help me put the holes in for all the numbers and the peg holes, and then I just got to make some pegs, which is pretty easy because, like I said, I have a little rig that will hold the stems in with the beads on. Then I just have to go through and paint them and all that stuff, so it doesn't take that long for doing the peg parts. So we're gonna come back once it's all completed, the frame's on, the hanger's on, everything's done, and you guys get to see the final product and what it's gonna look like when I'm actually selling these at the craft show tomorrow. And that is all I got for you guys, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. All right, so we're gonna see how the audio works with my new lapel mic. Hopefully this is good, because I don't want to have to talk loud, and I can kind of freeball the camera.